All right, today is Tuesday. We'll be talking about Eagle Eye training and discussing route record inputs, GPS activity, tracking, and route information. You can see on the screen we've got a route that is pulled up. You can tell from the inputs that these were either inputted manually or by the tablet because they are black. Legend up here will tell you exactly what these colors would mean. We can tell generally that they are tablet inputs because someone manually inputting them probably would not put the seconds on there. We can go back to the route builder to check the manual inputs and check the mobile route sheet by clicking adjust. It's going to take us to route builder for that particular day. We know that this was route D02, so I can come up here and select routes, then make sure I select the D02 and click view mobile route. It'll then pull up the activity that the person completed on the route sheet. We can see here that the operator was already named, the unit was named. We know that their departure time was there, so if you dispatch the route to the operator, they'll be able to know exactly when they're supposed to arrive at the shop, and if you had a departure time inputted, what time they're supposed to roll the gate. Now this number up here is when they rolled the gate. This is when they got back. This is the time at which they started the job. This is the time at which they ended the job. If this was geofence, they could click view geofence. When they're on the job, they could have added a photo or add notes. One of the items that they did put down here is they forgot to push the end job button at some point, so our time may be skewed. In particular, this job is a flat rate, so for internal purposes, we may want to know that the time may have been shorter on the job, but for payroll purposes, it is the return time back to the shop, and for billing and invoicing, it's a flat rate. Now we can tell that because of the unit of measure and the rate here. Our unit of measure per sweep is going to be a flat rate of $500 for this activity. So it doesn't necessarily matter how long from a customer standpoint it took, they're only going to get billed $500. From a payroll perspective, they're going to get paid from the time that they rolled the gate to the time that they got back, plus or minus their prep and cleanup time that they had. Now, we should have inputted some gallons and fuel cost for this, which would be found on the mobile route. So the operator can go and put this in themselves when they've inputted. We put in the arrival and departure miles, but nothing here, so we would need to get back with the operator and make sure that they fill that in, because otherwise that just makes your back office have to fill that information in. Once this is all reviewed, then you've got information at the bottom that'll show your route performance. In particular, to look at a better route performance, we're going to choose a different route. We're going to go to July 15th. We're going to look at 002, say get route. Now you can see that all the times here are green. That means that these were all GPS times. Since there was no orange, it also tells me that there was no manual tablet inputs. In particular, this operator that went out does not have a tablet yet, so that makes sense. But if we wanted to check, we can click adjust. It's again going to take us to Route Builder. And we know that this was Route 002, so we come up here, select all routes, select them off, click 002 and click View Mobile Route. There are no inputs on this. So we know that the operator did not have any mobile route inputs. If this is the case, and they did have a tablet, you'd want to follow up with your operator to make sure that they understood the use of it. So we come back here and we see that all these times are inputted. We want to go and review to make sure our units of measure and our rates are correct. So we go look here, $45 per suite, 0. That should be a red flag. Is there a reason why that's 0? And that reason is this part is really part of the rate for this job. But you need to look at this and not just blindly go through and approve it, because if there's a $0, it means when someone goes for a billing review that they actually take time to have to go back and undo what someone could have caught up front. So when they're going through, you want to check, do the times make sense? You can see your total time here. If it's parking lot work versus construction or roadway, you're going to have different times. Again, you got to know your customers, know your routes. Someone reviewing this should have an idea of the operations. From a billing perspective, you'd want to have someone that reviews it in billing that has an idea about collections and billing, not necessarily an idea of how long the job should be. And that billing is found on a different tab, which we'll discuss at a different section. So once you've gone through and checked to make sure that this is correct, if you have a monthly unit of measure, we can see that our monthly amount here is $975, and it's a monthly unit of measure, but we're only doing $45 on our invoice. That means we've got our units of measure and our billing classes set up correctly. If your billing class and your unit of measure are incorrectly set up, you may get an incorrect amount. It may say $975 per suite. You want to make sure that you look to see what is our unit of measure and what is our billing class. Two different things that could affect what your invoice amount shows here. Now, just because it shows that there, as long as you have your billing class set up appropriately, you'll get billed correctly, but you may get too many line items. So if you have a monthly post-bill invoice and you've got per sweep with monthly amounts, you're going to end up incorrectly billing. So again, look to make sure your unit of measure and your billing class are set up correctly. If you come down here, you can see that the operator wasn't chosen. If we actually had dispatched this route, so if I go to Route Builder and I come here and I choose Nate and I save it. So now it's in here. If I click dispatch, it would go to him, but this is post work. So now I come in here and I say get record again. If you do an update in Route Builder, it's going to flow through, and now the operator's name has been assigned. If there was not a unit chosen, I could have gone to Route Builder, right-clicked on the job, come down here and chosen a unit. So if I come in here and say, you know, I don't think he used that one, I think he used 117, and I click Save, and we come back here, we're going to get a much different result in Route Record. If I go click Get Record, now look, I got all these red lines here. He didn't leave. So if you incorrectly choose or need to force a unit in, click Adjust, takes you right back to Route Builder. Once it pulls the job, right-click on the first job or any job, and go choose the correct unit, click Save. Now you've got the right unit in there. Not only when you dispatch will it show up on their mobile route sheet, but it also is going to get the right times associated in Route Record. This is helpful if you don't have a GPS-enabled unit and you want to pull in the tablet times. Go put the right route, right operator in, and they will pull in Route Record. So we've got this information in here. Since you didn't put the mobile inputs, we'll just type this information in. 1300. Since I'm in the development server, we are not connected to Fleetio. If we were, this information would push over to Fleetio and show the miles, gallons, and costs associated with this activity today. Ending meter 222. Once I put all this information in and I click lock and save, now we're saving the routes. So I come down here and I want to see, does this make sense? We've got our total route revenue associated with this, our route revenue per hour, fuel gallons per hour, fuel cost. We know that we swept 19 miles. Total sweep time, 5 hours and 15 minutes. So we were traveling route time of nine and a half, travel time of 3 hours. Does that make sense? Probably. In this case, if we want to decrease that time and be more efficient, we need to put more jobs on, have less travel, more job time. We also come down here and see this IFTA calculation. Now, for a parking lot sweeper, this doesn't mean anything, but it'll show how many miles was our total route in Ohio, how many was our total miles in Michigan. Now, since I was just guessing and put that 66 in, that's where this information came in, because I forced that in there. Ideally, our total miles from our GPS are going to match our total miles in our departure and arrival. So this is where we look at our route performance. Route performance is very important to look at. It'll let you know if your operators are being efficient. It'll let you know if your events are working on your GPS wiring. It's going to tell you your IFTA miles and where your operators were at. It'll tell you your route revenue per hour. It's going to give you a lot of valid information to ensure that whatever is inputted in here seems appropriate. If you want to look at the job performance, once you've saved this information, we want to go look at what is our job performance for a particular activity. Are we really getting the revenue we want? Click adjust. It's going to take us here to Monroe Cancer Center. Right click on there. Go to Job Center. Job Center is going to pull up. We want to go to the performance report. We click in a certain date range and we click get report. This is going to tell us for this particular job, we go to the performance report, click get report. There were 2 times that it occurred. We were supposed to be there 25 minutes. We were only there 8 to 10 minutes. So either our operator is extremely efficient, it's not that dirty, or we did this really good and I need to change my job time down. If I go back, this could just be the time of the year. So make sure you know your total instances. 3 instances is not statistically significant. So you shouldn't base your information on this. It should just be relevant in terms of knowing what has occurred recently, but you really need to have at least 10 to be statistically significant. If you want to export this, go to your detail and click export. That'll get your job performance information. So if we were looking at this and we wanted to know a little bit more about his activity and looking at the GPS, so we look at 161 on 715. So we come here to GPS, we click 715 and get routes. Then I'm going to want to find unit 161. I scroll down here and I click right here where it says Route 002 and 161. This is going to pull up all the geofences he crossed in. The ones here in purple are ones that are actually on his route. So if he was at a particular spot like this, Talmadge Square, he was there for 7 minutes. So if he swept there, that could be an issue because that wasn't on his job. So you come up here and you go look, and he did sweep that activity. So this wasn't on his job, but we did the work. So we need to go and add that back to our job that he did it. Or we need to go find out why we did that work and we didn't put it on. So we noticed that activity. We see some others in here. They may or may not be, maybe just passing through. Some of these geofences are related to roadway work that you're obviously going to pass through, or highway work versus actual job time. So this is a good one to look at. You come here to view routes. If you think they had excessive travel time, come to view routes, wait for the whole route to pull up, scroll out, and you can take a look. What kind of route did he take? Does this route make sense in terms of the jobs that were there? So from the standpoint of where did he go, and was he efficient? If you were to drive way off and go up here to come over, that would work if there was construction or an issue with the road here, but it wouldn't if there wasn't time. So those are things that you want to look at in terms of the GPS. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing this all the time. Your route performance is going to dictate whether you need to do that. If we had a 9-hour route and half of it was travel time, maybe you need to do some checks on that, because it's either your lineup of your jobs or it's the operator's route. Or it could be his on or off job stop time, which would be in the exceptions reporting, which we'll talk about at a different time. So when looking at the GPS, we can see that activities are there. If we want to go and add this Talmadge, we come back. Someone with the ability to unlock will need to unlock this. We need to go back to route records. So we click a route builder, we click adjust. We want to add job to route. So we're going to click add job to route. We come up here and start typing Talmadge. Talmadge Square Alexander. We're going to add it to 002. We're going to click add job to route. It's always going to put it up at the front. So you can either, for this purpose of doing it retrospectively, it doesn't really matter. If you wanted to get this in the right order, you'd obviously want to drop this down to wherever he actually did it, or where it should be done. So then, now that I put this job on the schedule, now I'm going to come back to route record. I'm going to click get record. And then now you can see that this job is on here and it's got GPS times. So we know that that activity occurred. Hopefully he would have commented somewhere along the way that he did the work. Otherwise, we did the work and we never really got paid for it. So we want to be careful about that. That is one good thing about going through your GPS. Take a quick view to see if all the jobs on there are jobs that you had scheduled and had geofences associated with. If they're roadway or highway or construction, your jobs are not as relevant, because your biggest time is when do they roll the gate and when do they get back. It really pertains to parking lot work that is geofenced and scheduled. If you want to track to see if a unit is working, you go to the maintenance section and you will get their last reported, last data received. You can check the events on it by scrolling down. We can see here that we have a unit that's checking in right now. Last data received. It's green, so last 6 hours. We can go over and click this testing button. This is going to tell us what is going on with it. Right now, he is not doing anything, but he has the ignition on. So he's just sitting there waiting, hopefully either eating lunch or waiting on the construction crew. If I want to click map it, it's going to take me to a point in time of where this guy is at. And currently he is sitting at Speedway. So he looks like he's fueling up. Answers the question about what he's doing. I go down to the next one, this whirlwind. Click testing. He has all of his events triggering. He's got the header set. He's got his head down. He's got his right gutter broom out. He's got his hour meter going. We can click map it and see where he's at. This is just taking you to a Google map. It's not taking you to your geofenced activity. It's just going to give you an idea where that particular person is at a point in time. If you actually wanted to know more activity about them, you go to GPS and you pull up the actual truck that was, and I believe that was 105. You take today's time, let's say 4 a.m., take today and push this up a few hours, click view. This is going to give you the activity all the way up to a point, up to current, about where this guy is actually at. You can see where he's driving, see where the route's at, see where he's going, see where he's doing work. Coming in here, and he starts having his right gutter broom out, and he's working right here. So that takes you up to current, where he's at, 1225 right now, right gutter broom, header down. That's how you would tell. The maintenance side is how you would test the events and if they're working or not. You can test the events. from your shop. I highly recommend, if you want to make sure that the unit is working and wired right, you click testing. You can do your own testing from the maintenance section. So the maintenance section is also where you assign vehicle classes and where you would assign the Fleetio unit number to make that match. So make sure you know where that's at. That will conclude today's training. We look forward to having you on the next training class.